Hello, hello, and welcome to the Women of the Future interview series, a project aimed at showcasing and celebrating the top female changemakers and Web3 and the Metaverse using technology as a force for good in the real world. This is an initiative conceptualized by Empowered Women, Empowering Women. My name is Elizabeth Irizarry, and today I would love to introduce Dr. Millie Perry. Dr. Perry is the founder of DAOs4DAOS. She's an expert consultant in innovation, blockchain, and R&D for corporations, governments, startups, and investors in the field of 4 Industrial Revolution technologies. Can you please share with us a little bit more about you, Dr. Millie? Welcome and congratulations on being selected as one of the top 100 women of the future.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. It is a great honor. I'm so delighted to be part of this fantastic group of leaders, and I'm thrilled. Thank you very much for this opportunity. A little bit of my about my background. Well, I have a PhD in information science a long time ago, and a new PhD dealing with art economy, economic of art. I just got it 2 years ago, and I'm on the blockchain arena for the last, 5 years, maybe a little bit more. And I bumped into blockchain accidentally. It was not intentional. In one of my research, I was researching commercial zones that are dedicated for art, and we were looking for a policy vehicle in order to maintain anonymity of the collectors. In one hand, and in the other hand, to provide all the information and data that regulation and regulators are requiring. So I bumped into blockchain technologies, and I got into the rabbit hole, and then I found the DAO that matched my previous research regarding organizational theories. It was a wow moment in which I understood that the DAO is the next step of organization, and the new technologies, the blockchain technologies bring new idea and maybe even a paradigm shift into not only to the economic arena, but to the organizational arena as well. So it was thrilling for me. It was very interesting, and I deep dive into the DAO issue. Nowadays, I'm dealing with blockchain 360 degrees, dealing with identity, self-sovereign identity, with DAOs, with policy making, national policy making, in order to implement, or first crystallizing a national-wide policy program, and then implementing blockchain into countries. And I'm dealing with NFTs, of course, because my connection to the art world, and soul-bound token related to the identity issue, CBDC, a lot of tools that the blockchain brings to our economical world.
Wow, there was so much to unpack there. Incredible background. I made some notes. I love that you said you accidentally bumped into it. I think that's how most of us have got into this space. It's really nice how we went down a rabbit hole. I feel the same way. I've experienced the same. I wrote here some interesting topics. You talked about your dedication on the anonymity, basically how you founded the DAOs and the theories kind of matching the next step of organizations. I'd love for you to kind of expand a little bit on that, because I read a quote that you stated, and it was something around having like the DAOs like being the next evolution, right? I read something like that you had stated. And so I'm curious if you can expand a little bit on that, and how is that really going to become the next future and the next wave in which organizations kind of, I would say, organize themselves, interact?
Well, I'm sure everyone in the arena know the abbreviation of DAO. DAO is the Decentralized Autonomous Organization. It's envisioned as a collective organization owned and managed by its members. It's not the hierarchical usual structure that we know in organization, control and command, board of directors and CEOs and C-level managers that understand where the organization should go and what would be the future impact and so on. And they are commanding and controlling the organization. DAO is turning this operation upside down. And the governing bodies are the people that are owning the token within this organization. Usually it is a community that manages itself. Many analysts and industry insiders affirm that it would be type of organization for the future. Maybe it even will change the form of organization. And as you know, organizations and companies, business companies, are the building block of the global economy. And once we have the opportunity to change this format of building block and create some other nature of organization that are more community-based and more controlled by their members, the impact could be fantastic. We can't imagine what the impact will be, but I'm sure that the killer application of blockchain would be DAOs.
Wow, and I hear the passion in your voice, but I realize that, you know, it's very like the DAOs have like clear contracts that you could write out and you could spell out over time. Obviously, some editing is difficult, so it's good to have a preparation and ahead of time. But some of the, I would say, issues that people are facing is like it does have to create a little bit of a behavioral change, right? Organizations are used to being a hierarchy, and so they're saying maybe DAOs are not necessarily their avenue because they don't believe in blockchain. How do you come back to them when they have these concerns?
Well, I think we're talking about blockchain those days because it's a new tool that we're learning. Okay, one of my hats. I have a lot of hats. One of my hats is to teach in academia the next generation of managers, to see the opportunities, to understand the feature, to understand the principles that blockchain will bring to our world. In 5 years, maybe 10 years, we'll skip the notion of blockchain. We wouldn't talk about blockchain, and this would be our triumph. We will be successful if we will lose this term, because no one is talking about HTTP. We're talking about internet and the opportunities that internet bring to our lives and business life. And so would be the same. It would be the same with blockchain, Web3, NFT, all the tools that we're talking about, because it's new and people do not understand what is the opportunities and what should they do in order to prepare to this decentralized future, because it is very, very much a paradigm shift, because we are usual to a certain way of behavior, as you mentioned, that people institutions control our wealth in the world, and very few institutions. It would be government, it would be banks, it would be VCs, or the financial industry. The blockchain bring us or provide us the opportunity to bring I don't like the word control, but the maybe the opportunity to choose, or the sovereignty to choose which kind of opportunity, which kind of process, which kind of tools we want to use. This is the first time, I think, for the last century or two, that the user, this is another term I don't like, because user is so hierarchical, it's so top down, it's so, someone create tools and we can choose if we want to join or not. I changed this term. I turned it into owner. It's owner and user and partner and ecosystem together. We won't be only, part of the ecosystem. We would be the owner of part of the ownership in this arena, in the future economy, and we would have impact. Nowadays, we're absolutely nothing. We even lost our position as customers. We're not customers. We are just a piece of the product. Okay, no one is interested in our opinion, in our emotion, in our preferences. They are only, all of them, all the providers are interested in our data. And the blockchain first time bring us it is kind of a independent day for the users. Okay, now we have some opportunities. Now we have the freedom to choose which path we want to go.
Wow, incredible. And I heard you, and you said, I think taking reins of your life, not the control, and just like you were talking about having that kind of flexibility and not just being a user as in someone's defining what your user story should be. I love the own user, kind of like you own it, you're also using. It's kind of it's pretty symbolic in the sense that it's like you own the information. And so I thought about
this is our information, and someone else take it and utilize it for their own good instead of our own good. And we need to the term control is not good, because it brings me back to the hierarchical structure. It's more of sovereignty, the independent to decide what is good for me and which kind of network or tools or technology we want to onboard.
I love that. And in a recent interview I also did, I heard the term from one of the speakers, and she said producers of information. And it really stood out to me because she's like, we are producers of information, and that information is ours. And so we're being told with our own information that we are producing what it is that we should be doing and should not be doing. And it could be quite complicated. So I love this new age in which we have some opportunities. I think there obviously are some challenges. We're still in these early days, days of the digital revolution, as we discussed. There's some barriers for mass adoption, but what are some challenges, concerns, and problems you have seen? And obviously you're a teacher, so you're an educator, professor, and so you go out and you educate the community. That is one of the biggest
the community, the students, the current manager, the regulator, there's no policymaker. So many people are eager, and there is a huge thirst to have this information and this understanding. What are the new opportunities in the future world? There are, as you said, a lot of challenges. I can say, I don't want to say problems, because it is a challenge, or a few challenges. You can talk about regulatory challenges. The regulation is not yet there, not yet fully understand what are the options. And there is inherent conflict of interests between the regulators and countries that are centralized, and they want to preserve their power and control. Here I can use the word control. And with the issue is to grab them and bring them into the world of decentralization and freedom, and maybe flattening the hierarchical pyramid that is everywhere in the economical world, finance, business, banks, everywhere, and government, of course. And I think it will, we were talking about the challenges. So there is a inherent conflict of interest between the decentralized world and decentralized conceptions and the centralized world that today is in control. So the regulation, part of the regulation are not for protecting users, because we are not users anymore. We are own users. And we can own our data, so no one needs the regulation for specific databases that third party is controlling, because I am the controller of my data, and I am the preserver of my privacy, and I don't need any help from the regulator in this aspect. But there are many other challenges as well. We have challenges as for the centralization somehow, or relying on providers. This is something that we used to do in Web 2, and nowadays we can see that it's somehow getting into Web 3 as well. Very big organization, the OpenSea is controlling the NFT arena. So this is a concern that we ought to bear in mind and preserve the ideas of decentralization and freedom. Another issue is scalability. We know that blockchain is still far behind the scalability option. Very poor UI and UX in the metaverse, for instance, are still a challenge. Accessibility, I think we are not there yet as well to provide all those services to everyone. We have another challenge. I can think of interoperability between blockchain networks. For instance, it is a hurdle that the developers and investors should, and technologies should attend. And another issue is the volatility of the whole arena, not only the cryptocurrencies, even stable coins and other issues are not, sometimes they are very popular, and sometimes even at the NFT world, we can see the utility and we can see the opportunities that the NFT will bring to the future of e-commerce. But still, when the prices are ups and downs, we can see it's not stable yet. Okay, even though the ecosystem is wider and there is a huge adoption in institutional organization and government and so on. So I think there are a lot of challenges, and I think it's what makes the arena very vivid, very dynamic, and very interesting.
Absolutely, I agree. And definitely that fear of missing out. I feel like we've been in this giant social experiment, but certainly there are some uncertainties. So are there any positive, like some tips for someone who is new or has maybe heard by now, we know it's out everywhere, has heard about Web3, has heard about crypto, has heard about DAOs and NFTs, and maybe they've seen some things that seem a little uncertain. Any tips that you could recommend for them just now entering the space?
Well, I think first that they have to zoom out and look at the big picture. Okay, we're talking, for the long run. We're not talking about what would happen tomorrow morning or how the exchange will behave. We should think of the internet, for instance, as a meteor that crashed into the human civilization, and we absorb the initial impact, and we need to figure out how to fit all the pieces. And the Web3 is kind of the next generation, decentralized generation of the internet. As a humanity, I think our problems have become globalized, but we lack a global scale solution to coordinate our efforts. You know, it's not, if we have a pandemic, it's not Europe, it's not a European problem, it's not the US problem, it's not Israel's problem. It is a global problem, and we all need to join forces in order to coordinate and tackle this challenge. And it's not the only challenge that the world is trying to fight. So a lot of solutions currently fall into two main buckets. Okay, if we're talking about the big picture, we have the US model of relying on corporates and mediate or manipulate our interaction and behavior and transaction. And there is the Chinese or the Russian option of the same model relying on the government. And we're trying in Web3, we're trying to find out the third most fitting solution to third option, okay? Whether it will be feasible or not, we will see. And many of those Web3 projects are trying to crystallize all the new tools using blockchain and NFT and Metaverse and DAOs and decentralized identity and any other tools that this brand new technology provide us. And it doesn't have to be people are so stunned where the cryptocurrencies came from. Every industrial evolution brought their own kind of money. When we try to crystallize metal, so we have coins. Then we have the printing revolution. Then we had the checks and bills. Then we have the digital revolution, and we use the credit cards and electronics in order to move the money from one place to the other. And now we have a new technology that brings not only new opportunities but new money as well. And this is the cryptocurrencies and a variety of options and tokens and other issues that we use in this fourth industrial revolution.
Wow, absolutely. And I agree with you so much. And like that alone should set to inspire you, right? That alone should set to like drive you to want to learn more, understand like just the principles of the technology, because it's really hard for people to get onboarded with technology because there's so many. Obviously, the major companies and corporations that are doing things with our information can be quite disarming. So I think that understanding, like you said, the big picture is crucial. And so I want to dive even deeper now, getting more specific on, accessibility and mainstream adoption. And so breaking glass ceilings when it comes to enabling greater accessibility for women. Obviously, this project is aimed at showcasing women in this space. So we have access to user experience as well and becoming more simple and more intuitive, but making sure that women have a place in this all. What do you have to say to that? There's going to be some women that are going to open the book and see it for the first time and find these backgrounds of all these incredible, very different, diverse group of women with different backgrounds coming together for kind of this evolution, using this evolution of technology for good. Any tips or just words of wisdom that you could share with them?
Well, I'm not sure these are words of wisdom, but this is personal journey, okay, and my experience. I think the main issue is that blockchain is an interdisciplinary field, and people can enter this arena or this new era from a variety of places. You can be an artist, you can be a designer, you can be a fashion person, you can be a person that understands money, and you can come from finance, you can come from policy, you can come from dealing with ethics, and you can come from law, of course, and tax, and so many, even climate change. There are so many entries into this arena and this new economy that everyone can find its place within it. And I think people and women as well should bring themselves to be very self-educated autodidacts. They have to work in communities. Community manager, for instance, you don't need any background, academic background or financial background, and communities are such an important feature in the future economy. So everyone can find its place, with even without a solid or in-depth academic background, and can bring real value to this world, even because they are relating to people and can maintain a community and can talk to people and motivate them and bring them together, and used to be maybe their role will be like a glue in the community, you know, matching people with one another and working groups and so on. There are so many opportunities in this future economy that if someone is missing it, he should be very I don't know. It's such a shame. You don't have, you know, the pre-requirements are so varied that you have to find your door or your window or your I don't know, door hole or rabbit hole to get into it.
I love that, Dr. Millie. What an inspiration. I mean, certainly it's limitless opportunities, right? We are defining them. We are creating the opportunities. So it's so important for just more women to kind of shed some of the misconceptions, and there are no experts. We are creating this together. And so we need more expertises. We need kind of this convergence of different backgrounds and experiences to build that better future. It can't just be by the technical, you know, officers. It can't just be, it's a variety of things that need to come to play together.
You have to be curious, you have to be passionate, and you have to be, you know, to be interested to enter this arena, and the sky is the limit.
So exciting. I know that the women listening to this are going to feel that energy, and they're going to be motivated to move forward in what they're doing. It's been such a pleasure, Dr. Millie. Thank you so much. How do we find you? How do the women connect with you?
Well, I have a huge community in LinkedIn. Everyone can join me and you know, find me in LinkedIn, Dr. Millie Perry. I have open book in Hebrew and in English in order to help people to enter this world of blockchain. And it's open in the internet and on LinkedIn, and everyone are most invited to download the book and read and use and share with no payment and no any requirement. And this is a dynamic book. I'm always entering more papers, you know, because you know the blockchain arena is changing, and Web3 changing so rapidly. And I'm open for questions. People connect me in LinkedIn, and I will welcome you to join my community. our
Thank you
community.
thank you for your openness and sharing information. That information is so valuable, and it's great that you have it in different languages as well. I think that we need more of that. Make things more translatable for everyone across the board. It's been a pleasure having you, Dr. Millie. I look
Thank
forward to
you.
seeing you and what you will be doing in the future. And now we'll connect together soon.
Fantastic. Thank you for having me.